Everyone's just hanging out.
We're good to go.
It's so quiet in here.
Everyone's here. Everyone's getting their game face on.
I think so.
We have 3 or 2.
Oh, well, yeah.
Excellent. If you want to drink, the bar is open.
Testing. Hello, Nutmeg fans. I'm here at the Nutmeg Curling Club this evening to watch the Men's League quarterfinal. Tonight, on sheet C, we have the, let's see now, the 4th seed versus the 5th seed. 4th seed is Team Scimia versus Nate Holme, and on sheet B we have the 6th seed versus the 3rd seed, which is Team Tulley versus Team Kwan. And everybody's shaking hands. Should be a fun night. Hope to get some viewership. So I don't know who all is playing what, but I'll call it as I see it. Looks like we've got Peter Trenchard starting things off for Team Scimia, perhaps? Well, we'll find out. Who holds the broom out first? This is my first time this season attending Men's League. I actually came down here under the impression that it was the men's finals. Root on Team Tulley, but I come to find out it's only the quarterfinals, and I'm like, how is this possible? How many weeks could we possibly have left of curling? Ooh, Robert Kwan sliding down sheet B. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so Peter Trenchard starting things off for Team Holme on sheet C. And he's playing with Bob Black and Rick Moore. I think we may have a number of subs tonight. I was overhearing in the warm room that Rick doesn't normally play on Mondays, and I know we've got a couple other subs on the ice tonight. Ed is calling Fan to take out the first lead rock. Looks really, really nice. A little bit down weight. That's a great takeout by Fan. Good job. Sheet B, we have a successful center guard. We have an early end of takeout on sheet C. Got a nice roll over to the side. And taking again. And B, the sweeper's just getting the red rock over the hog line. And great takeout again, Fan. Good job. Okay, Bob Black is up. Each team's waiting for the other to make a mistake. It's not going to be Bob. Actually, looking a little bit wide there, but it's coming back. Very, very nice. Sean Hogan. Hit it, Sean. Looks like Sean slid narrow and pitched wide. And it turns out that he did not pitch wide enough for that slide, and that is the first miss. But Nate doesn't have hammer, so he's looking to put something back up in the center. Unfortunately, Bob couldn't bring it down from takeout weight and goes right through. So we're back to our hit game. On sheet B, what do we have? What do we have? We don't have the same clean house situation on B. Looks like yellow is sitting 1, but it doesn't look particularly buried, and it is behind the tee line. So it looks like Kwan's going to have Andy Picardo sit his red rock on the backer. He's thinking about it. Yellow has hammer. Interestingly enough, he's instead decided he's going to peel the card. I find that interesting. I think I would have gone with the first call, but Robert Kwan is the master, so. Okay, back on sheet C. Looks like yellow must have missed their hit as well. And on the second try, red doesn't quite make it to the house. But at least it's a guard that could be tapped up later or hid behind. Dan Villagomez. That looks like a nice hit. And it's going to stick around. Good job, Dan.
Well, I'm here for 2 reasons. One, watching Kyle. Hi. Because he thinks I never show up for him.
And here you are.
But he's wrong. And also because I'm meeting with Sarah, who I'm guessing is not here yet. No,
Rick Moore. Another nice hit. Do we have a roll? We got a little roll. But still a duck. Good job, Rick. Good try. Dan V's looking to hit and roll behind.
Hi. So I can be eating these tomorrow during the day. So I started dyeing them, and I forgot that when you're tie dyeing shirts, you're supposed to wet them first. No, I
Dan's got a hit, but is going to spill. And now we're down to Skip's Rocks. Nate should be drawing behind. Meanwhile, on sheet B, looks like yellow's still sitting one. Red, oh boy, that's a tough one. Red just accidentally took themselves out and made yellow sit 3. That was a pretty terrible mistake. Okay, Team Tulley. What is Team Tulley doing? It's a little hard for me to see angles here because I'm behind the hack on sheet C. Looks like Team Tulley is asking for a tap up on their front yellow or a draw behind. Maybe a split. Looks like a nice weight. Having a little trouble seeing. It is guard, and it doesn't appear to be guarding much. Meanwhile, Nate did end up drawing behind, but he drew into the back 8. There's plenty of room for Ed to sit and use that as backing. Sheet B, red's coming down, and gosh, I hope they don't push another yellow one into the house. Nope. They managed to take out. And they managed to push one of the reds. Oh, it's so tough because I can't quite see over there, but it looks like one of the reds might now be in the house, but I'm not sure if it's sitting. Ed slid very narrow. He slid right down the center line. And, you know, placed his arm out wide, but I'm not sure if this is going to make it by the guard. And it did not. Yeah. So red sitting 3. They're going to replace that top guard, biting guard, and hope that Ed misses a second time. Brian Tulley delivering his first skip rock on B. He's definitely given it more weight than Aaliyah. It looks like that weight would be going through. Probably going to bump the red up. Nope. Bump himself up. That works. As long as it doesn't go out. And it looks like it was just the right weight to bump it to T-line. Really nice weight. Okay, Nate's got his sweepers really working hard on this red guard. Sitting very nicely. Oh, probably went a little deeper than he had wanted. A little deeper than he wanted. The line's great in terms of guarding the back one, but all Ed needs to do is hit and stick, and he's got his one. Okay, Ed, don't go down that center line. That looks much better. Much better line. And it looks like he's got it. He hits the nose, and he does have his one. Okay, Robert Kwan. This is his first skip rock. It looks to me... let's see. looks like yellow's sitting 4 at the moment, so Kwan is going to hit the pair at the top of the rings, probably hoping to double those 2 and cut his losses here, maybe have something to tap up on his final rock would be the ideal. He hits the inside of it though, and he ends up rolling rolling into the blue rings, which does not help him very much. So yellow's still sitting 4, and I expect Brian will just be trying to guard up the 2 that are exposed. He's got to bring that weight down a little bit. Honestly, it looks like a similar weight to his last rock, which means it's a tap up, which isn't really the worst thing in the world. Over curled, definitely not the best. It did tick on one of those center yellows to go sit in the back of the house, lose a little juice and sit in the back of the house, but now Quantum does have an open hit on the shot rock, which would leave him shot. And, you know, once he's sitting there, it looks like he might be hard to get him out because it would jam on the back stuff. Ooh, very nice. On sheet C, Fan made 2 very beautiful draws with his lead rocks, and I wasn't watching, but apparently the opposing lead failed to get those out, even though they're both in the rings. Peter Trenchard starting now to try to get these out. It's a pretty down weight hit though, and he just manages to get the back rock out. Did not quite see how sheet B played out. I think it's well, we'll see when the scoreboard comes out. It's hard to pay attention to 2 games at once. Looks like yellow got 2. Some good sweeping by Dan Villagomez. Sadly, I don't have any viewership. You know what? It's such a gorgeous day outside. I hope everybody's out enjoying the weather instead of being glued to their phones watching curling on YouTube. But you know, it would be tremendous to get Mark Zakin as a viewer. Ooh, just a little tap on that front red rock. Not really guarding much. Nate's going to have Bob Black try to take out that center yellow, and if he's narrow, then he'll just tap up his own red. Looks really good. Maybe just a touch wide, if anything. A little bit wide, and it spills. Team Tulley, I think, is accidentally taking out a rock. What are you doing there? Hey, you never know. It might have just pushed it somewhere. And instead of allowing the takeout and replacing the free guard, they just decided that's what was going to happen and removed the rock from play. I don't know how kosher that is. Seems maybe both skips agreed on it, though. Sometimes those things can actually benefit the hit rock because it actually hits at an angle and pushes it in the house. So if I were the opposing skip, I'd want to see it play out first. But like I said, I can't catch the angles over there very well because I'm sitting behind the hack on sheet C. Okay, red team's gonna be tapping themselves up. Maybe a little split. That's a pretty forceful tap. Tap back to almost T-line. Okay. Brian's asking for a draw. Interesting. Not sure how he's going to do that without bumping into the red, but we'll see. Ooh. Okay, on sheet C, Holme did manage to get red to be shot rock. Scimia is going to have Dan take that out, and if he's not wide, it won't jam. I see. Brian was going for a tap, or if he wasn't, that's what he got anyway. All right. 2 yellow center guards. This yellow rock looks real nice on C. Actually, nope, too wide. Did get the, not the jam, but it took out the back yellow. Red's up. Open hit. Another very nice tap for Team Kwan. And Rick Moore misses his hit on C. Ed, who does not have hammer, is going to draw behind the 2 guards. Brian's calling David Holme to hit. No sweeping, probably wide. Nope, looks good. Really nice. No sweeping because it was a perfect shot. So, Sarah's just texting. Ooh. Kwan seems to be cleaning up on this end. Luckily, He drew behind the tee, and he should just be kind of creating more backing for Team Tulley. And Team Tulley's going to draw into that backing. All right, Holme looks a little, just a touch wide on this. Would really love to have a roll to the inside, but he's gonna, actually, he stuck around. So Hammer Team's now sitting 2. Not a bad spot to be in. Looks like Scimia is gonna hit back. Doesn't want to risk that missing the berry or missing the house and having Team Holme get 3 here. Okay. Ouch. Not going to get the inside. Well, he did get a tiny roll and is definitely sitting shot. So Nate's got to just hit and roll off of that. Well, just hit and nose it, and he's got his 2. Meanwhile, it looks like Team Tulley did successfully land a rock on the button. And perhaps he has a guard coming in right now, but it looks a little bit narrow. Nate sent a nice and easy hit down. I'm a little concerned it's going to overcurl. As long as he makes contact, he should be good. Nice shot. Just definitely wanted to make sure that rock stuck around. So that is 2 for Team Holme, red, with the score of 2-1 on sheet C. And on B, red couldn't quite make that pick, so yellow's still sitting 1, and coming into Skip's rocks, yellow's starting. Tulley has to guard his shot rock, which means he's going to have to bring down his weight a little bit. Unless, of course, that's the slow side. And that worked out tremendously. Brian was a little wide and a little hot, but he ticked off of a red and has created a pretty successful guard from what I can tell from my angle. It's possible there's a port there, but it's too skinny. Even too skinny for Robert Kwan. Another nice rock by Fan. What is Robert going to do? What's he going to do? I'm not quite sure what this call is. Unless it's somehow a down weight hit on the yellow through a port. These are the moments that I wish my headset was cordless so I could get up and see what he's planning. We'll soon find out. What is up Robert Kwan's sleeve? Definitely looks like a down hit weight. Thing is, if he gets this wrong, he might just be tapping up the yellow guard. And that is what he does. He taps up the yellow guard, pushes it to the back 8 foot. Brian has to bring down his weight once again, because he didn't do it last time, and put up a nice guard. We have Robert's mother Ann visiting us from British Columbia today, here in person.
Thank you for that.
Okay, Brian, bring down that weight. It's like Brian's just got one draw weight today, and it's back house. Just one weight, back house weight. I mean, I guess things could be worse. You know, things could be worse. I mean, he could have one draw weight and it's hog weight, you know. Okay, so he is definitely cut Robert. He's created a pocket for Robert to get his one. Now, can Robert get 2? Maybe. Can he get even 3? It's possible. If he hits the yellow skinny and then knocks over and hits the other yellow. But I don't think he can do that because the one he needs to hit first is too buried. So he's, you know, I would hurl it on down there and hope for the best. I'm sure Robert can do something a little more calculated than that. Meanwhile, on sheet C, 3 is sitting red. Red is sitting 3. Right. Okay. Kwan. Rock coming in. Normal hit weight. Ooh. The suspense. The suspense. Ah, interesting. 2 red. Yep. All because Brian Tulley can't throw guard weight after trying like 3-4 times. Oh well.
I feel like you're the only person who's allowed to really give him shit for that.
It happens.
We've all been there.
Yep. Can't bring that weight down. He knows he's got backing. It's like, I'm going to use that backing, and then he does, and then that happens. Okay, so Rick Moore. Rick Moore's got a nice guard to draw weight going on. I feel like the sweepers are over sweeping it a touch, though. It was a really nice rock. Got a little bit overswept. And it's going just past the tee line.
whoever plays in the first game, if they win, they play in the second.
Okay, and that's a hit for Dan. Looks like he pitched that hit out a touch. Sean's trying to sweep it back. Not a big believer that trying to sweep it back helps, and it certainly didn't in this instance. So now Red has an opportunity. They're already sitting 2, and they can guard that right up.
So actually there are 4 games next week. Or, 5? 3 games. 3. How does this work? Yeah. Whoever wins plays the top.
Yes, Angelo, that is me on YouTube.
Kyle explained it to me at one point.
Yes.
It made sense at some point.
This determines
What happened on Tuesdays? I actually don't recall. I was here on the Tuesday final, and I watched the first game, but not the second, because that's past my bedtime.
No, maybe it's just the 2 winners play.
Do any of you guys know what happened on the Tuesday final? I can't recall. I think Jake Ness won.
Yes.
Jake Ness won against Scimia, probably. So Scimia was in second, I think. Yeah, can't recall. So interesting. So I do have a viewer. I wish I could figure out how many people I had viewing me. If you're viewing, please feel free to send me something in the chat so I know you're there. Because I'm not seeing a count here. Oh, there it is. 4 viewers. Thanks for tuning in. All right, back to the curling. What's going on? We've got Red sitting 2 still. We've got Nate coming down to throw his first skip rock. We've got people coming in and out of the worm room who don't look like they belong here. Nope, they definitely belong at the hockey rink. Okay. We've got Andy Pichardo throwing second rocks for Robert Kwan. And it looks like he's throwing a hit, an inside-out hit. They're sweeping it pretty good. Looks like it's going to get there just fine. Yeah, really nice. Nate's putting up that guard. Does not look like it needs to be swept. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Looks like yellow can draw down to the back, or maybe something back house and just bump into it. This is Scimia's first skip rock. Angelo tells me that I'm sounding like him on YouTube, and I don't know what Angelo sounds like on the live stream. I could think about how to do my best Angelo impression, but it's been so long since I've heard your voice, Angelo. Let me think about that one. Hello. I think that's my only Angelo impression. Hello. All right. And Ed comes out narrow again. He's coming right down the center line.
The 2 winners tonight.
But he's left-handed, so maybe I'm wrong about that.
And then the 2 winners of those 2 games play each other right after.
It looks really, really good. Really, really good. Just snuck by that guard. And rolls just a touch. And he managed to get out both counting reds. And suddenly, yellow's sitting 2. And what's he doing? I was going to say. Looks like he wants to hit the yellow out, but I'm not sure he's got a whole lot of room. I guess he does if he's going to hit the inside of it. But if he's at all wide, it's going to be a wreck. And it looks, from my angle, it does look wide. But hopefully it curls. It's going to wreck. No, it did not wreck. Very narrowly did not wreck. I thought he was going to come at it inside out. That was that was a super sneaky rock right there.
That was really close.
Okay, so in sheet B, it looks like red's sitting 2. Bob Baroni is vice for Team Kwan. And rock looks good. Really nice weight. Sweepers are on it. He might have been going for that tap up, but or that split, but instead he just snuck right behind. Drew down to the shot rock on the button. Very nice rock. Okay, it's Scimia's doing an inside out take. And that's looking real good too. He's going to have it, and he'll probably get a little roll to the inside, which is, I'm sure, just what he wants. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful shot by Scimia. He didn't even need that roll because he had hammer. I think that's 2 yellow. Watch the score go up. Okay, Bob, second vice rock. Do it again, Bob, do it again. Six viewers, woohoo. Who is watching today? Send me a message. Do we have any wives out there? Let's hear it for the wives. Me and Barb Baroni are here. Woohoo! And Sarah. That's right, Sarah's here. You're not a wife of anybody playing? Okay.
No.
But you said you were here to see Kyle.
I am here to see Kyle.
But you're not with Kyle?
No.
Okay. Just friends. So I was telling Kyle before the game, I recognized him from Facebook.
Oh, really?
Because I'm not friends with Kyle on Facebook, but Facebook every day tells me, we think you must know this guy Kyle. And I'm like, I don't know why I would know this guy Kyle, right? And so I asked my husband, like, do you know this guy named Kyle Keller? Because every day Facebook's asking me if I know him. Brian's like, yeah, he's on my Monday men's team. Well, now it all makes sense. It's like, he's got the most amazing cat. I love looking at this guy's cat.
He has an adorable cat.
I don't know if I'd call him adorable. He is very distinguished.
His cat has attitude.
Attitude, yes.
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 He had 2 cats.
He looks enormous for one thing.
They're very fluffy.
Yes.
I try to stay away from them. I'm very allergic.
Uh-huh. So anyway, do we have any wives? Do we? Oh, we have Gerard Blay. Interesting. I was expecting Tina. I thought we might have Tina online. But you know, if Tina wanted to watch, why isn't she here? Tina? Tina, where are you? Let's see, who else could we have watching? Oh boy. So that was 2 yellow in the third end. And am I missing my own husband skips rocks while I'm saying stupid things into this microphone?
No, they haven't started yet.
Not quite yet. Okay. Looks like Tulley is up. Or Kwan is up, and then Tulley's up. Kwan's getting ready for his first skip rock. House is looking pretty clean over there. So he's just got an open hit to sit 2. Aha! Aha, Christina Blay is there. You know, you could always come down here and hang out with me, Tina. You're going to be here on Thursday, all right. Let's see, who else? I think that Kristen Holme might be on a trip right now, and that's why she wasn't here yesterday. Okay. Nate Holme. They're sweeping hard. Looks like it might be a little light, a little bit light, and it looks like it's not going to get here. It's going to tick on the guard, and unfortunately, guard what they were looking to come down to. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. For Sean Hogan. And red has hammer, so now they're sitting one guarded and looking to put a second one in. Weight looks like it might be, actually it looks really good. Sweepers are just getting on it now, kind of slowed down out there. And that's something that's going to be tapped up later, but definitely not bad. Ed's looking at a port. He's got a port to hit. He says, you know what? I can't lose much by doing that because if I don't make it, I clear a guard and get it next time. Brian Tulley is going to try to hit out the sitting red. Nobody's sweeping it. No. He's drawing. But where is he drawing, ladies? Where is he drawing to? The back house. Actually, he drew through the house. What a big surprise. All right. Red now. Oh, nope. I called it too soon. I was going to say red now sitting two, but Ed Scimia got that red one out there. And Bob's going to put another red one in. So at least Brian did take out one of the counting reds. So that's positive. I'm just surprised he didn't go for the hit. But I guess he was trying to bury and steal, which is also not a bad idea. If you have draw weight.
They have hammer.
If you have draw weight. Oh, they have hammer, right. Sarah reminds me they have hammer. Okay, very nice draw by Bob. And Ed's going to try to double these two out. It's possible. Dan Villagomez can see enough of those two rocks. Go, Dan. Go, Dan, go. Go, Dan, go. It doesn't look like it's big hit weight. So it's not the kind of hit that would double anything, and it's wide. So if anything, he's just going to tick something over, and he goes by. And I mean, that hit was only really like a hack weight hit. So that's a little bit confusing, you know, given that I'm guessing Ed wanted to move both of those reds. Okay, so Rick Moore gets his chance to draw into the pile. Robert Kwan draws pretty close to where Brian Tulley had hoped to draw to. And now Brian Tulley has his hammer. What will he do with it? That red rock that Robert Kwan just threw is sitting on the top of the button. So if Brian were to throw the weight that he just threw and just knock it back a little bit, he'd be golden. And given the broom that he has, well, might be what he's going for. If you know you can throw a specific weight, maybe just keep throwing it. That looks a little heavy. That looks a little heavy, but sweepers are on it. Oh, it's not heavy, it's light. Come on, come on, come on, come on. He's got it. He's got it. Really nice shot, Brian. You have redeemed yourself. Okay, so meanwhile I've been neglecting sheet C. It looks like Scimia must have cleared out any guards. Good for him. And Nate is trying to put it back. The sweepers are on this one hard because it looks like it might hog, but I believe in them. They look pretty strong. They're really going at it, and it's just not going to happen. That is super unfortunate. Especially because he had all that backing, you know, he could have just drawn into the pile, but what do you do?
Yeah, better heavy than light.
What's that?
Better heavy than light on that one.
Yeah. He did not make the pro miss. He chose poorly. You're, I don't know how old you are, but I think everybody can identify that, like, there were certain movies that you watched over and over and over again when you were a kid, right?
Absolutely.
And you tend to quote those movies even as an adult. So do you know where that comes from? He chose poorly.
Isn't that oh crap, I know this one too.
Do 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 do.
I want to say like a Monty Python, but I don't think it's a
do,
Monty
do.
Python.
It's not Monty Python. Do 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 do.
Oh, it's Indiana Jones, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He chose the wrong grail. He chose poorly.
Oh, I thought you were saying shows poorly, that's why.
No, chose.
Chose, the way you said it sounded familiar, but
Why are we dirty? My food isn't sheltered. Are we trying to try?
Okay. So I have a friend who's particularly bored on work travel, and he says he would like to hear about watch our curling match. Let's grab a link here. Yes, take out Tina, that's right. Take out Tina Play. So let's see, how do I get a link? I feel like my mom when I can't figure out how to do things with computers. It's terrible. Sarah, you're younger than me. How do I get a link?
Need help from a millennial?
Yeah, I need a link to this YouTube video, and I don't know how to get it.
Okay, there's going to be a share button somewhere. What happens if we touch these three little buttons? That's not helpful.
No, it's not helpful.
Maybe
What's
if we come out of the
this?
chat.
Yeah,
So
let's get out of the
leave
chat.
Share.
Oh, there we go. Thank goodness. Copy link. Awesome. Thank you.
Very welcome. Always
Okay.
happy to millennial.
There we go. It's been shared.
Find links and kill industries. That's what we millennials do.
Find links and kill industries. What industries have you killed?
Let's see. There were articles saying that millennials killed eating out. There were articles saying
No, just
millennials
Applebee's.
killed engagement rings.
Good for you.
I'm right.
Good for you.
I'm proud of us.
Right? Good for you. I think I did hear like something ridiculous about what millennials killed, and it was you know what? I can't even remember what it was. It was so ridiculous.
They love blaming us. It's totally fine.
Right?
Be the scapegoat. That's how Gen Z can do all their great climate action.
There you go. All right, so back to the curling. Back to the curling. So again, for anybody just joining us, we are at the Nutmeg Curling Club, and we're watching the Men's League, Monday Night Men's League quarterfinals. We have Team Scimia versus Team Holme on sheet C, with Scimia throwing yellow rocks, right? And did anybody just see how that panned out? I wasn't watching. Well, well, it was a potential blank? Really? Well, we'll see when the score gets hung up. Against Team, well, apparently Scimia must have, Team Holme with red rocks. And on sheet B, we have Team Tulley with yellow rocks, sitting 2 currently. Go Tulley, versus Robert Kwan with red rocks. And their score is 3 yellow to 2 red after 3 ends. And they're coming down to the end of the 4th. What are you looking at, Brian? What are you looking at? He's looking at guarding. I think that's a wise choice. And you know, if he's heavy, there's a lot to run into. So how about we say we'll learn something from sheet C and don't hog it. No hogs. Just from the fact that Brian moved over a foot after he threw that, I'm guessing that was narrow. And it's definitely going to run into the guard. But running into the guard means it's a guard. Oh. Yeah. You know, that wasn't a very big port to get through anyway. But yeah, he was narrow. Probably by about a rock or 2. And now Kwan is looking at, he's looking at the hit.
He wants a draw.
Really?
Yeah.
Narrow drop.
Oh, you're right. I just I couldn't see behind Dan Villagomez to notice that the hit was blocked. That's a pretty narrow pocket from this angle to get through.
Sweet.
So if he gets through it, God bless him.
Sweet. Sweet. Right in the pile.
Yeah, no, it's gonna hit.
Yeah, he's on the guard there. That might have actually opened things up a little bit. Brian's got still has a little bit of a hold to guard. And he's going to come the other way. Oh, he's going to guard the tap up. All right. Not a bad idea. Barbaroni, are you a bartender?
Could be. Yes. What would you like?
Could I get a second Prosecco, please?
I'll get it. I need a drink too. I still need a bartender though.
I have a card.
Oh, sorry.
All right, well, that guard is successful, but there's still a touch of room for Kwan to tap, and that's what he's calling for. He's going to need to get it with about back line weight in order to get it to the button. and sweepers are on it because it's narrow, which could have been okay, except hit the rock in the wrong spot and actually gave yellow a third counter. So Tulley's going to try to guard that tap again. Aaliyah. I think Aaliyah was the one who threw the first guard, so hopefully he won't be heavy. Definitely don't want heavy guards when you're trying to prevent a tap. And the sweepers are gonna get it over. They're gonna get it over. And it just wasn't out far enough to really prevent that tap. So Robert Kwan has another shot at it. Actually, you know, like I said before, since I'm sitting at sheet C, I don't really have a good, thank you, don't really have a good sense of the angles, but when I'm looking at it on the screen, on the YouTube screen, it actually looks like it's a great guard. Kwan's going to try it anyway. And once again, Baroni's narrow and ends up just moving some things around. Did you take this? I forget.
No.
No? Okay, I'll pay for it later. Okay, Sean Hogan throws up a very nice yellow guard on C to block, to guard up their yellow sitting 2, and Bob Black's going to try to take that guard out. Looks real good. It's up to Dan to put that guard back. Okay, so Brian, what is Brian doing? There's so many rocks up front on sheet B. What on earth is going on here? He's got to be guarding the taps again.
Yeah, they're sitting 3. Gotta guard that.
And this time he really, really, really has to get a guard weight because, you know. and, oh, come on! Oh, I think it picked. I think it picked because it moved a lot.
Angle,
yeah, it moved a lot at the very end, and if it had really been light all that way, the sweepers would have known and they would have been on it earlier. So that was unlucky. Unlucky, and you know, Kwan's pretty good at this stuff, and now it's his rock, so we could be looking at an amazing tap. Definitely has unguarded tap potential. What was that, Ann? What? I'm pretty excited about this shot, actually. This is a moment for Robert Kwan to show us his stuff. A controlled tap to the button to out count 3. And to tie up the game.
He's smiling as he goes back.
Oh yeah, he loves it. Looks like Dan is throwing a successful guard. Might be a little heavy, and oh no, it's really nice. I love that. It's just that great feeling, you know, when you throw a guard just right.
Nice and tight, right where
And of course, it's Rick's job to take that one out again, but he's wide. The thing about being wide is he might just pick off the back, which is almost as good. Just as good, actually. Yeah, he's got it. 1 and 2. Awesome. Oh, actually, no, the first one jammed, so he just got the 1, but that's not bad. Very guarded, though. So what will yellow do next? They're going to draw in another one. Or they're going to hit the red. Interesting choice. Interesting choice. I mean, I don't really see how red could get the shot rock out, but Ed's going to take the red over at the side just in case. Oh, oh, oh. This rock I was so excited about and failed to watch the shot. Good try by Robert Kwan. It had a little too much juice, and yellow is still sitting 3. Little too much juice.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to tell from this angle.
He does have one more rock to try this, though. And Tulley has one more attempt to guard it. Now, I can totally see why he was coming inside out there, because if he throws back house weight like he has been, he would just run into one of the yellows. It looked like that one that last one was a really nice guard weight, and it just picked, so I hope he doesn't give it a lot more than that. Just a touch more. It's looking good, looking real good. Now it's just a question of line and how much it curls. Looks really nice. Really, really nice. Very nice.
Beautiful shot.
Very nice weight. Okay, so Kwan is now looking at damage control. If he hits off the inside of the third counting rock, he might be able to roll to sit number 2. So it looks like on sheet C, what I said I thought couldn't happen is happening. Oh, it didn't happen. So Nate was trying a run back take on the shot rock, and he narrowly missed it. See here, I felt so confident that couldn't happen that I was surprised that Ed was going for damage control and playing conservatively and taking out the red just to make sure they didn't score extra points when he was already sitting 1 guarded. But that's why. He knew that was there, and he knew Nate could make it. Of course, he could have instead decided to guard that. Okay, Kwan, let's see it. Let's see it. Inside and roll over, and it's a field goal. 3 yellows. Ouch, ouch, ouch. 3 yellows for Team Tulley. Putting Team Tulley up 4 after 4 ends, which is definitely not the end of this game at all. Scimia putting up probably a counting guard. Or just a guard. Counting guard, yep. Biting guard, yep. Need it for line. Looks really, really good. I mean, that run back, still possible, but unlikely. That same shot that Nate just tried, it's still there. I mean, but it's so hard, especially now that it's a rock forward.
Yeah, the angles aren't as nice.
Welcome to my friend Josh Williams, who is bored on his work trip to Ohio. Josh, have you ever watched curling before? Or is this your first time? Now, you know, we were talking about Rocky Horror before everybody went out on the ice. Oh, you weren't here. But of course that makes me think about one of those Rocky Horror traditions. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. I've got photos of Kyle at his first Rocky Horror production.
Production? He was in a production?
No. We went to go see it.
Just go see it.
But he got branded.
How do you know Kyle?
Kyle and I have known each other since we were kids.
Okay.
grew up
This
going
is
to
an
the same
interesting.
church.
Ooh.
But we didn't really
Okay.
become friends until
So looks like it is
2019.
one yellow on sheet C.
we started becoming really good friends, and then 2020
Nate's a little
we lived about
frustrated. A
mile
little bit
from here,
frustrated.
And so we would go for walks during the pandemic.
So what school, where did you guys grow up?
Sorry?
Where did you guys grow up?
Okay, Kyle Keller is throwing his second lead rock on sheet B.
Food is here. How's Kyle's rock?
Looks a little bit heavy.
Maybe in
Slow down, slow down, slow down. Not slowing down. Right on through. You know, it's interesting. How did sheet B get an entire end behind sheet C? I think it's because sheet C's really been playing the hit games, you know, more so than B.
these guys aren't doing much.
They're not really using a lot of guards.
Is anyone here a bartender?
I've been here. Let me see.
Who's this lady? Uh-oh. And we got a hog for the red team. All right, so my buddy Josh says this is his first time watching curling.
Welcome, Josh.
He says cheers and that we need to teach him what's going on. So, oh boy. Curling for beginners. Oh, John Anderson. Hey, how's it going? It was sad to not see you on Sunday. I did want to say I swept with your wife, and it was very enjoyable. Oh, did I call her your wife? I'm sorry. Your girlfriend. It's always wonderful playing with Stacy. Okay, so to my friend who's never watched curling before, what on earth is going on here? As you might have been able to tell, all these folks on the ice are trying to get as many of their rocks to the closer to the center of this big ring set that you see than the other team's rocks. And in order to do this, there's a lot of strategy at play. And there's some rules. So one of the rules is that in the first 4 rocks, if they're not touching the house, the other team is not allowed to take them out until after the 5th rock is thrown. Yes. So those would be called guards. And you use guards to hide behind. And you can hide behind guards because the rocks curl. They actually, as they slow down, they'll kind of curve. And that's why the sport is called curling. Now, the lead on sheet C, he probably was supposed to be throwing a guard there, but he accidentally threw it in the house. So that means the opposing team is allowed to hit him out Strangely, they didn't choose to do that. They just chose to bump him back. So right now on sheet C, yellow is sitting 1, and red is sitting number 2. So if this were the end of this, they call it an end. Each time they throw the rocks one way or the other, that's called an end. They'll count up the number of rocks closer than the opponent, and that's the score for the end. So yellow is throwing right now, and it looks like they're going to hit the red. Actually, it looks like they're going to miss the red. They're just going to tick it over. Actually, that's not too bad. So yellow is currently sitting number 1, red sitting number 2, and yellow sitting number 3. And if this were the end of the end, the score would be 1 yellow. But of course, we have many, many more rocks to go in this end. So the skip is motioning by his broom signals, and he's probably shouting something. Of course, we can't hear it here in the warm room. To his second, saying he wants him to draw and just lightly tap back the yellow rock that's currently sitting near the button. Curling, my friend Ed Scimia likes to call curling chess on ice. Because like in chess, you make strategic moves thinking about what your opponent's going to do next. But unlike in chess, you tell the player to move to a particular position, but there's a certain probability that they will accidentally move to a position that's adjacent where they're supposed to be. So in this instance, Nate Holme, the skip, asked the player to tap back the yellow rock. But the player was light, and so he actually accidentally placed the piece in front of the yellow rock, guarding it. He could have also been heavy and gone right through the house. He could have been heavy and narrow, which meant he would take the yellow rock out. There are a lot of different things that could have happened there. So when you're a skip and you're calling a play, you always have to think about what happens if, basically in chess, if the piece accidentally ends up to the right, to the left, in front, or behind where it's supposed to. And you have to make these calls strategically so that you don't do anything catastrophic by accident. So Nate is calling this player to again draw down and sit on the yellow counting rock. Hopefully, since the player just threw a guard, he now realizes he needs to give it a little bit more speed. And he does. And it's looking pretty good. Now the sweepers, you may have noticed we have sweepers. They can sweep the rock, which will affect basically the sweepers can sweep a rock to keep it straighter or make it go further. That rock in particular looked like it was curling a little too far over, so they were sweeping it to keep it straight. That was a really great outcome for that rock. It did tap the yellow back, which is kind of what he'd hoped, and it's also sitting very guarded behind the other yellow, the red guard that the second player threw just before. So this skip's name is Ed Scimia. He's actually was once a competitive chess player, which is how he got into curling. And he wants his player to come and sit on the button as well. I think the player threw slightly narrow, but it seems to be working out. The weight's great. The sweepers are on it to make it go just a little further, and that was an absolutely beautiful rock, which tapped back the red shot and is now sitting shot. And they're going to keep going with that. Nate's going to ask his player to do the exact same thing and just tap that yellow rock back just a little bit.
And I've got yucca fries that usually come with a chipotle mayo, but they didn't. So.
These are very precision shots that he's calling for. If this player were to accidentally throw a guard, which he's not doing. Actually, this one's a little bit wide. I think they need to let that one curl over a little bit more. Oh, it's coming. Really, really nice set of precision shots from these two teams. So this is a terrific example of curling. You can see that the rocks actually curl to make it into their final position. Where the skip is holding his broom is where the shooter will aim for, but as you can see, the rock doesn't end up in the place that they are aiming. It ends up somewhere else. So the skip has to constantly be keeping track of, if they shoot it here, how far is it going to curl over at the speed I'm asking them to give me. And one after another, these guys are doing a great job. Now the current shot rock is sitting in front of the button, which makes it a little bit harder. And this rock came in too light, effectively just guarding the rock that's already there. But it's not really a guard, it's actually frozen to it. So here, I'm going to see if I can zoom in to the house for you. Sure we can find a... Let me find the house view. Here's a house view. I know it might be a little bit small. Oh, actually, here's a better one. Here's a nice house view. So we have all these rocks, and you can see that red is closest to the center. Red is now just trying to guard this. That rock curled too much. They didn't want it to be over that far, but given that it was, it kind of worked out. What they definitely don't want yellow to do is to come and knock into the top yellow that's connected to the counting red and push it away. Because if they did that, then yellow might be sitting about 3. Depending. Looks like red has something on the just biting the red, so that probably wouldn't even really work out. The skip and the vice are strategizing together. What can we do to get this red out of here and have yellow counting more? And I think he's just decided that he's going to draw into it and try to tap it back. That's what this broom indicates to me. But I'm not really sure how far he can actually get that to tap back without jamming on the back yellow and still being shot. So, if it were me, not sure what I would do. It's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. He could try to run the top red into the yellow into the red and shoot it out. But he's definitely not looking at that. Since he's up on the scoreboard by 2, he could just be looking to guard up the one red rock and give this team one point. Because preventing them from getting 2 points is a reasonable goal here. And then, of course, he'll get hammer. Hammer would mean that he has last rock, and he'd have the opportunity to score more points in the next end. And given the shot he threw, that looks like that's what his current strategy is. He's not trying to score anymore. He's just trying to prevent the red team from scoring multiples. But he didn't really do that because the red team, if they have a good draw weight, they can come in and sit 2 by just curling around that guard. So does any of that make sense, my friend?
Liz, are you a teacher?
I'm not a teacher, I'm an engineer.
Your descriptions and your explanations were really wonderful.
I don't think I could ever be a teacher. Because if kids were mean to me, I would cry.
Kids would be mean to you.
Exactly.
Because kids are mean.
So I wouldn't be able to be a teacher because I would cry when they were mean to me. That wouldn't work out very well.
My son wants to be an engineer. He decided it like a month ago.
It's a fun profession. If you want to have fun.
He enjoys having fun.
Yeah. Definitely a fun profession. Unless you're my friend Josh Williams, who is bored on his work trip at a power plant. Okay, so the red team came up a little bit short here. And what is yellow trying to do? What are they trying to do? They're possibly trying to guard the tap up. And they pretty effectively did that. Yep. Now red would not be able to tap their own rock up. So what does red have here? Josh, what do you think? Does red have a shot to get 2? I don't think that they do. They could try to come around the outside yellow on the left-hand side on the screen, but they're not gonna get close enough to outcount the other yellows near the button. And anything else they do might accidentally kick out the one they have in. So they might just be best off throwing this rock away. Now, with all this scrutiny on sheet A, I've neglected to pay attention to what's going on sheet B. So everybody, what's going on in sheet B?
This is hammer, and
Yellow's sitting 1, red has hammer. I can't see the, oh, I see now. Still up on the screen. Looks like yellow's pretty buried back there. Go Brian. So Josh, just for your information, my husband is yellow. He's the skip on the yellow team on sheet B. And the opposing skip has his own cheering squad here tonight. His mother, Anne, from British Columbia. Oh, looks really, really nice. Really, really nice. And red comes into the button to get his 1. Interesting play. He did throw the rock away. He threw it away with great gusto on sheet B. I was actually thinking, what is he doing? Because it looked like if he had had a different handle, he might have slammed into something and knocked over into the center and messed things up. But yep, so red takes 1 in the, what end are we in? That was the 5th end. And Josh, just for your information, normally these ends, there's 8 of them. So, I'm sorry, that was the 6th end. So they have 2 ends left, and yellow is up by 1, score of 4-3. Meanwhile, on sheet B, the score is 6 yellow to 3 red. And the nearest curling club to you, Josh, is probably in Petersham, Mass. I mean, not right now, but where you live. Josh, you said he's down by 2 now. Let's see, the scoreboard. It's a little tough to see, and I can't really zoom in on it from here, but the scoreboard, he said it does say he's down by 2, but that's because they haven't put the score up for the 6th end. So I see the Vice marching down there to put the score up now, and then you'll see they're actually just down by 1. There he goes. He's grabbing the 6 for the 6th end, and he's hanging it above the 3, which means that red has a total of 3 points after the 6th end, whereas yellow had a total of 4 points after the 5th end. So what power plant are you at today? And do they have any fun and interesting problems that you'd like to tell our audience about? What's wrong with the power plant in Ohio? I work in power plants. Everybody needs electricity. You just said A.B. Brown, Centerpoint. So what's going on with this power plant that you need to be there? Away from your home and family. Must be something important, right? Evansville, Indiana. That sounds so familiar. Not Ohio. Okay, Indiana. Evansville. I'll have to look that one up. I lived in Indiana for all of 6 months when I was 20 on a co-op in East Chicago. Okay, so we've got, starting off the end on sheet B. I think we can focus on sheet B for a little bit, so let me cut over to a different view. Cameras. Well, let's go to this view. I like this view. Get a nice big close-up of these houses. So we have yellow sitting 1 early in the end. 2 red center guards, and red is going to try to outdraw that yellow. And I'm going to look up where Evansville, Indiana is. Evansville, Indiana is on the border of Kentucky. Aha. Well, the red rock managed to clear a red guard. And Brian, instead of guarding, he's talking about maybe bumping up that top yellow. Not a bad call. This is David Holme in the hack. He's coming out, releasing his rock. Looks like it's got plenty of weight. Sweepers are on it, so it could be a touch narrow, because I think it's got the speed. Definitely a touch narrow. Ticks the guard and ends up itself a guard, so not bad. Brian's goal here, since he's up by 3 after 4, would be to guard this one. He wants to steal 1. That would be terrific. If the other team gets 1, that's okay too. He doesn't need to make any aggressive plays to make more points, although he was kind of going for that when he asked for the tap up. Okay, red rock's coming down. Looks hot. Not going to stop. And it flies right through the rings and out the back. So another thing I forgot to mention, my friend Josh, is that there's something called defensive sweeping. That means that once a rock passes the middle of the house there, and there's a line that goes right through the middle called the T line, the opposing skip, that's the leader of the team, he gets to sweep real hard to try to make that rock go out. But other than that, you can't sweep your opponent's rocks. Okay, yellow's coming at it again. If they can get the weight right, they can sit 2. Sweepers are on it, though it does not look light, so it's probably just narrow again, which it is. And that's kind of unfortunate because they just ruined their nice guard. Red's gonna try to outdraw it once again, although they could choose to hit it. Aha! So he's saying, with his little tapping there, he's indicating that it's fine to outdraw it, it's fine to draw to the button, but it's also fine to freeze to that top yellow rock. The reason a freeze is nice is because if they come by and hit it later, then they'll be sitting 2. Hit the pair. This, he also doesn't want it to go through again, that's for sure. Looks like he's actually going to hit this rock. So that was a nice shot. Nice shot indeed. It looks as though I'm looking at an overhead view. And where did the red rock go? Oh, the red's in the front. Oh, that's right, because my overhead view is of sheet C, and I'm looking at sheet B on the YouTube stream. That's why that made no sense. Got it. Okay, yellow's coming in for a hit. Looks good, looks real good. Oh, so narrowly misses it. Luckily, there's no jam, takes it out. I mean, I'm not really sure if you call that a jam. What happens, like, if a jam is really, you know, it hits and stops. That one took the other rock out, but at least it didn't jam. What you eating there?
Yucca fries.
Yucca fries?
Yes.
That's exciting.
Do you like some?
I would like to try a yucca fry.
They didn't bring the sauce, so apologies. It's just a plain yucca fry.
Where do you get a yucca fry?
Taco Mita in Shelton.
Taco Mita in Shelton, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like the last time I had yucca was in a McDonald's in Thailand a long, long time ago. Thank you.
Do you like the yucca fry?
Do they grow? They must grow yucca in Thai. I thought they did. Interesting. Probably confusing it with something else. Okay, Brian, what you doing? Brian, who's sitting 1. What are you doing, Brian? It looks like he wants his vice to draw down and sit on the inside of that red rock. Interesting choice. Coming in. Sweepers are on it. Might make it. Oh, they gotta go a little more. Not quite there. Okay. There's still room on that button for a red. But if he had a very precise shooter, Kwan could raise the red into the yellow and be sitting 2 here. So, I mean, I guess with doing that, if Brian had made that shot, he'd be sitting 2. And Kwan, the best he could do would be getting 1. Looks like he's not going to go for that more difficult raise. And he's just going to go for a draw for the button. This is Kwan's first skip rock. So he still has the potential for 2 or even 3 if he tries that more difficult shot later. So what is a yucca?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because it tastes just like a potato to me.
Is it like a starch?
It's definitely a starch. It's a slightly different consistency than potato, like more.
Josh, I don't think you answered me. What's wrong with your power plant? Why are you there? Okay. So the yellow draw missed, or the red draw missed, excuse me, and just tapped up the yellow guard. It's curling more than they expected. And Brian Tulley is going to try to draw. He's going to try to draw in. Would also be acceptable if he just blocked red's draw path. Ah, you're beginning to install. Oh, you want to see on the other end? No problem, I can do that. We can certainly switch views. I was just, no problem. It's just, particularly, I spent a whole end looking at sheet C, and now I'm scrutinizing sheet B, but no problem. Just got a text message from Sean. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, Brian Tulley with his heavy draws. Doesn't that draw look heavy to you?
Yep.
And it's gonna knock into something, which is maybe that was part of the master plan. Ooh, check that out. Really nice. I really don't think that was his plan, but you know.
Gorgeous, though.
Really nice. He has not blocked red's draw, however, so we still have a decently open draw to the button. He's just got to get it just right. But you know, in the last end he did, and he got his one, so go Robert. Am I allowed to say that? Okay, so what's going on C? Looks like yellow's sitting 1, red's number 2, and the next yellow is not quite biting. And we have Scimia throwing his last skip rock. Looks like he might be able to bump yellow back. I want to pat myself on the back because I don't think I've said anything offensive yet today. So I won't get censured, huh? I didn't say anything bad about Brian. I have been censured before. I actually don't recall for what, but. Ooh, really nice. Really nice draw. Really nice draw. Did he make it? He did not make it. It was just slightly short, and you'd think the sweeper should have known that and should have swept a little harder. I'm just saying. But Brian actually has hammer here. So he has two choices. He could go for a hit, but it's not a completely open hit, so that hit could jam. Or he could just leave it at 1 and be happy with his 1, and then he'll be up 4 after 6, and that's a good place to be. But if he does a down weight hit and he pushes it straight back, which I'm sure he's going to do because he can't resist the opportunity to get 3 here.
Based on that broom, yeah.
Yeah. And he's saying to himself, I can do this, no problem. I'm Brian Tulley. And he can. Can't be wide is the thing. You just can't be wide. And he's wide. Brian Tulley's wide. Oh no! Actually, that worked out. He was not too wide, and he got his 3. Amazing. That is a game ender right there. That's a game ender, and we have shakes after 6. Robert decided he cannot make up 7 points and 2 ends. So we have a short game on sheet B, and now we can focus all of our energies on watching sheet C. So with that, I shall cut to the sheet C feature view. Okay, so in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, don't they sing something about double feature?
The opening song.
What's the double feature part of it? Double feature would mean there's 2 movies.
Yeah, sure would. I think is the implication that you've got your first story, which is Brad and Janet, and you've got your second story, which is Rocky.
Maybe.
Um,
That's what they call a double feature picture show. I mean, they don't. Brad and Janet aren't really a story until they get there, so I guess it's a mystery. Maybe we'll have to Google that one.
or ask, what's his name? Richard O'Brien?
Richard O'Brien.
The one who wrote Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm not that educated to know who wrote it. Not great with those things. Josh Williams, my friend at the power plant, says science fiction double feature. What double feature? Maybe you can enlighten us why it's supposed to be a double feature. Today's games were a double feature. We had, again, Sheet B with Brian Tulley versus Robert Kwan, who were the 3 seed versus the 6 seed, and amazingly, the 6 seed won. And our second feature is Sheet C with Ed Scimia versus Nate Holme, and they are, I forget who's who, but I believe they're seed 3 versus C4. Seed 1 and 2 have the bye. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Scimia and Holme are 4 and 5. So Scimia is 4 and Holme is 5. And currently, Scimia is winning. That looks nice, Sean, but you pitched it wide. And they're trying to sweep it back. Dan's trying to sweep it back, and it's just not going to get there. You know, I didn't see the rock in front of Ed, so I did tick it over. Not a terrible outcome. Michael Hope, howdy to you, sir. Mr. Hope, I would have expected you might be at the Bon Squeal in New Jersey today, but you're not. Wait, today? Today's Monday. That's over. Were you at the Squeal this weekend, Mr. Hope? I've never known Michael Hope to miss a good squeal. Whereas Brian and I have frequented the Squeal for its past maybe 4 events. This year we've elected to go to Buffalo instead. Going to Buffalo's mixed Bonspiel this coming weekend, leaving Friday. Last Bonspiel of the year. Sean Hogan sending another one down to hopefully tick that red one on the button back. It's curling. It's light. And it's just going to reach the white rings. Okay. This is the 8th end, so this is it. Strategy in the 8th end can sometimes differ a bit from earlier ends. There are each skip has their goal, and it's a very precise goal, and there's not a lot of wiggle room on that goal. Whereas in other ends there can be, you know, some okay outcomes, alternative outcomes. So right now Scimia is up by 2, and he's got yellow rocks. So his entire goal in this end is to prevent red from getting 2. And what do we have? What do we have? Interesting, very interesting. Red rock came down, pushed a lot of stuff off the button and into the back rings, and we still have a yellow on the button guarded. So if Scimia just wants to prevent red from getting 2, he needs to either be counting 1 or he needs to make sure that there aren't any rocks in play. So one of the ways to make sure that red doesn't get a lot of points is to just take them out whenever he can, which might be what he's about to do. He's got 2 choices here. He can try to guard up that yellow even more than it's guarded right now, or he can take out the back red because any red rock he takes out can't count later. Run him out of rocks. And Dan Villagomez lets it fly. The thing about takeouts in the back of the house is they're going to curl a little bit more than other takeouts because they have that much further to go. And Dan made that takeout expertly. Go, Dan. Nate's looking at his options. Nate, on the other hand, his goal, especially right now, is to count 2, which would tie him, so that at least it buys him another end. It's a little too much to try to have a goal of counting 3 at the moment. I mean, that would be ideal, but at the moment it's looking a little tough. Okay, so he's hoping that he runs back this red and it'll hit a yellow. But if not, at least it clears everything out of the way so that he can hit yellows later. Ed's sweeping like mad to get that red rock out, and he does. Things are not looking very good for the Hammer team. Ed wants to put up a guard, I think. Or bump into the yellow. Yep, he wants to bump into the yellow. So as Ed's looking, his goal again is prevent red from getting 2, prevent that tie. And currently, I can't see how many rocks that red has left, but they've shot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's a total of 8 rocks, so red only has 3 red rocks left. And they somehow have to make 2 of them count in order to stay with it. So again, Dan Villagomez pretty much perfectly executes what Ed asked of him. Good job, Dan. And Rick Moore is the vice for red. Nate's thinking about this real hard. In order to even count 2, he has to double those 2 rocks. But if he did that, then yellow would just take him out. So how is he going to... He's going to have him sit on it. Interesting. So he's decided his strategy is going to be to sit on the yellow rock that's further back, and on his second rock he's going to double the yellows out. But Rick did not give him sit weight. He gave him a tap back weight. And it's going to curl over, and it's gonna kind of miss. Definitely missed the shot. And now they're definitely toast. Because yellow is probably not going to miss this. And even if they did, red would somehow have to double out those yellows, which would be tough to do. So that's pretty much game right there. Well, not double out those reds. There's 2 red rocks left, but I'm thinking Ed's not going to miss twice here. Probably not once. Okay. Looks good. He's going to make this one. And yellow's sitting 5. So, Nate's got to figure out, how am I going to sit 2? How am I going to sit 2? Well, he could tap and roll behind the guards, and then he'd have to make a perfect draw for a second rock. Still possible. And that's what he's going for. Looks a little wide to me. Bob's trying to curl it. Maybe. Maybe. Actually, well, they didn't quite get buried, so quite probably Ed's just going to take that out. But if he doesn't, then the 2 is very doable. Red needs 2 to tie. We have 13 viewers, woohoo, watching the final shots of the men's Monday night quarterfinal. Ed Scimia just needs to take out this red rock. It's all over. Looks good to me. Or is it wide? No, it's good. It jammed, but they'd have to take out 3 red rocks to. Sorry, thanks. You know what I'm talking about. You'd have to take out 3 yellow rocks. Looking at the angles,
You can try it.
could happen. If you hit it
Shade.
where.
Shade on the broom side with peel. You can get all 3.
The broom side of peel? What?
The outside.
Yeah, okay.
But you
This
gotta,
would be a sight to see.
but you gotta throw center line side out. Otherwise, it's gonna roll too far. With the weight you gotta throw. And in theory, it's there.
If he gets this, it'd be amazing.
It would be amazing. And we will have been there.
Yeah. Front row seats.
10 years from now, you can say you were there. You saw
I
it.
will.
Needs to make a triple and stick around to
Hi.
The warm room is now filled up with the teams that were on sheet B, and everyone's watching Nate's final shot.
Try to throw the other hand off. Yep, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go.
That's already too narrow.
Last climb up.
Nope. And that's game. Scimia wins on sheet C, Tulley wins on sheet B, and they'll be heading to the semifinals next Monday. I might be here if you're lucky. Tune in. Thanks for watching.